Hey there folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into Pave stone setting and creating this stunning engagement ring. So, what is the meaning of Pave? Pave is a French term, and while we often associate it with diamonds, it can refer to any gemstone. It describes a setting technique where the metal surface is covered with closely set gemstones, giving the appearance of a surface adorned with gems and minimal metal visibility. Alright, let's get started with the modeling. For instructions on how to create a gem, you can check the pop-up tip or follow the link in the description. Meanwhile, I'm going to add a cylinder to the scene. This will be our gem cutter. I'll change its matte cap to orange. I have also created another collection of matte caps that I recommend for jewelry modeling. You can find these matte caps by following the link in the description. So if you'd like to support me and my channel and get these 16 matte caps, feel free to visit my Gumroad page. I'll periodically add various additional materials there, so stay tuned for updates. Let's get back to modeling. Using the gizmo with snap, enabled to 90 degrees, let's rotate the cylinder so that the y-axis is pointing upward. I'll increase the cylinder size along the y-axis and move it down like this. Next, using cell mask, I'll mask a portion of the cylinder so that I can create a gem cutter with the gizmo. Usually I make the hole about 50% of the stone's diameter, but in this case, the stone is 1 millimeter. So the hole will be approximately 40% of the stone size, which is about 0.4 millimeters. Using the gizmo, we'll move the gem cutter slightly below. Mask this part, invert the mask, and adjust it so that the gem is not visible. Something like this. Clear the mask. Let's make the bottom part of the gem cutter slightly longer. Add another cylinder. This will serve as a reference for the finger size, and its size will be 18 millimeters. So I'll type 18 divided by 2 inches in the command line. I'll also change the matte cap and clone the cylinder. This cloned cylinder will be our ring. I'll make it green. The outer diameter of our ring will be 21, and the width of the ring will be 5 millimeters. I think that should suffice. I'll turn on hole and set up the hole in our ring, aligning it with the red cylinder. Once I've adjusted the size, I'll delete the red cylinder. Next, I'll use the split function with fill holes turned off to cut the ring into 3 parts. Then, I'll join these 3 parts into one using the join command, adding extra edges to the ring. I'll mask these polygons. Use the gizmo to shape the ring accordingly. Now I'll add subdiv to round and smooth the ring. When the mesh subdivision levels are sufficient, I'll press delete lower, as I won't need to go back to lower subdivision levels. I'll rename this cylinder to ring. Alright, let's get back to our stone and the gem cutter. I'll create a group for them. In our group, we'll have the stone and the gem cutter. Take the gizmo tool. Our axes are currently oriented incorrectly. We need to align the y-axis upwards, so enable pivot and set snap to 90. Adjust the axis as needed. We also need to position the gizmo center under the girdle. Right here under the stone will be the point that moves along the surface of our model. Turn off pivot. There are no problems with placing the first stone. We simply position it on the surface using the gizmo. I want to create through holes in the ring, so we need to elongate this part of the gem cutter. Select our group, consisting of the stone and gem cutter, clone it by clicking clone and using transform, move it across the surface of the ring. Do this again. So in reality, placing stones on the surface is very simple. To the first group, add a radial repeater. Remember to control the distance between the stones. Don't make it smaller than 0.1 millimeters. I wouldn't go below 0.1. That's probably a critical value. The distance between the stones is preferably between 0.15 millimeters to 0.25 millimeters. In this case, I left 61 stones. Select the second group and use the transform function. You see, you can move the stone across the surface and place it wherever you like. Maintain the distance between neighboring stones to keep it uniform. Also, add a radial repeater. Take the third group. Set it where needed and add another radial repeater. Now we'll gather all our stones into the first radial repeater. All our gem cutters will go into the second radial repeater. We no longer need these groups, we can delete them. We don't need this either. Combine the stones using the join command and rename them to avoid confusion. Immediately mirror the stones from right to left. Combine the gem cutters as well. You can also do this by clicking Radial 1, which will open a menu where you can click Validate, then Join Children, and finally Yes. Mirror the gem cutters as well and rename them to avoid confusion. We need prongs. Let's hide all these parts so they don't distract us and add a cylinder. I changed the matte cap to purple, it's more familiar to me. Using the gizmo, rotate it like this, and in the settings, set the size to 0.45 divided by 2. This size should be enough for stones that are 1 mm in size. Clone this cylinder, move it up, and change the topology. Because we changed the topology, it became smaller. Orient it to the lower cylinder. Increase the upper cylinder, which will be the prong. We no longer need the lower one. Recalculate the mesh using the voxel command. Cut off the lower part. Add a helper cube to the scene with a size of 0.45. I will use it as a reference to properly set up the gizmo. Then I will delete this cube. Now let's arrange the prongs on the surface using transform. Clone the prongs and place them. Now we need to select our prongs and join them together by clicking Join. Then mirror them along the Y-axis from right to left. Add a radial repeater. Now let's create settings for the stones. To do this, we'll enable the ring and gem cutters. Use the Boolean command to cut the ring with the gem cutters. We'll also use the same command to combine the ring and the prongs. I'll also apply decimation to the ring to optimize the mesh for 3D printing. Moving on, I'm tinkering with the render settings. One thing I'd like to point out here is that if you want a yellow gold for the ring in your render, it's a good idea to select metal for the stones as well. Choose the blending material and reduce the opacity parameter. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope you found it helpful and inspiring. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more exciting tutorials and creative journeys. Stay tuned for more amazing content, and until next time, happy sculpting.